Hey, what's up, everybody? We are back. It is once again Throwback Thursday, and we are here with Comic Conversation, and we are going to bring you tons of great topics tonight. Sorry we're late, but we're here. Better late than never, right? Isn't that what they say? Fashionably late, all that stuff. We're here.
That's right. Right.
We're not going to have Edwin with us tonight. He had to step out. He's doing his Zumba again. But we are actually going to have Chris hopefully pop in a few minutes. So expect him to stop along. We do have a lot of really great topics that we're going to cover with you this evening. At least Justin and I will go through them. A ton of stuff like breaking news, some rumor stuff, really exciting things around like Hall H and D23 and Disney and like all this stuff that's going to be coming out. It's like this stuff just kind of comes up all at once. So we're going to go ahead and get that going. A little bit of a different format in the beginning. I want to try just kind of jumping into things a little bit quicker because we normally take up, 15, 20, 30 minutes just kind of chatting. So we want to just kind of get that value add for you guys and make sure that we get to the stuff that you want to hear. You know what I mean? Like, you don't care what I did last Tuesday, you want to know the stuff. So I do want to shout out Comically Flawed. He is here in the chat. He is our resident right now. Anyways, we have a few people that do our moderating in the chat. Comically Flawed, thank you for being number one. He says, I hope DC knows how ridiculous that armor looks. And yes, you see it in the thumbnail. There is a new picture put out by a poster by Patty Jenkins. We'll talk about that one, hear what your thoughts are on it for Wonder Woman that comes out actually basically 1 year from now. I think she did it yesterday. So the movie will come out 1 year from yesterday. So we're right at that point. They'll start like a heavy. I don't want to get a headphone. Mr. Variant is here as well. Daniel Ibarra, NES, Stay Puff, Jackio. What's up, guys? Cool. A lot of people are already rolling in. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you for your patience as well. So like I said, I know we're late. Just wanted to do a quick little ask you a couple of quick things. Wellington, hey, what's up, man? What was I going to ask you? Magic. There's some stuff coming up for Magic that we're going to talk about. Are you excited for that? They're not like
this Magic, like
MTG,
this Magic,
that Magic, yeah.
Magics.
Yes, the MTG stuff. Are you excited for what's coming up, or are you aware of that, or are you just waiting to get to that part?
Yeah, no, I'm excited for it. I'm excited for it. So
cool.
I'll have some words to say when we get to that topic.
All right, very good. I think it's Comics Mix Explained is here as well. Our good friend there. I just want to do a couple more quick plugs. I do have a contest going on. Started it earlier this week, I think it was.
Yep.
And that's going to run until the 20th of this month. So a couple more weeks. It's really easy to do. There's two prizes. I'm going to actually have them here. I'll show them again. Just so people
Raven, right? You're going to give us the Raven behind your shoulder.
Oh, yeah, that little thing that I got in a Happy Meal. No, I'm going to give you this. This is a prize.
Nice box.
This is DC Collectibles. It's empty, so you're just getting the box. No. Score! No, it's actually in here. Shoma Ross, Artist Alley, Batgirl. Really beautiful. I actually have one of these, and I like this. I wanted to...
Is that the one that's like, it's black, white, and red?
There is
like a little bit of red on it.
Yep, exactly. Yep,
nice.
You can see the whole line there. There's a bunch of them. The green ones are actually the ones that were like a holiday special. These came out in December. It's just a few months ago. But this one is the black, white, and red. Yeah, so you can see it here.
Yeah.
And there's that. You guys have probably seen that Harley quite a bit. I've seen that all around. So
I've seen that one. Yeah. I've seen that one in person at my shop. That's a gorgeous like little Batgirl statue. That's awesome to have.
It really is. I like it. Like I said, I already have one. I just wanted to be able to get one that I could share with you guys. Nice. So that's one of the prizes. And then the next prize is here. Justin, you'll appreciate this one. It is in a Mylar and a top loader, and it's a very high grade Thor 337.
Ooh. Nice.
Very nice, crispy, clean copy. And this is actually, I consider this a spec book. I'm very convinced at this point that Beta Ray Bill is going to be in Phase 4, Guardians 3, as soon as Guardians 3. This book is already climbing, and I don't think that it's hit its ceiling yet. So this is a really great time to be able to get a book like this for a great price.
Right.
And it will come the top border and stuff. It's not slabbed. You'll be able to slab it.
Press it, slab it.
Press it if you want, but there's really, I don't know.
No need.
Never hurts to give a little press, before you send anything off, even if you think it's great. But yeah, so that's 2 prizes. What you have to do, go to the contest, put something in there, and just tell me. Oh, let me just give a plug, because this actually is a donation. The first one came from me, and this one actually came from a local vendor, Secret Society Comics. And that's part of the contest. I want you guys to go over to Instagram, look for Secret Society Comics. It's all one word, and like their pictures, their page, give them a follow, and then for me as well, JLS Comics over there, just so I can look and see that you guys did that, and that will get you the entry into it, and that will be the pool for it. If you want to make a video, you definitely can, and what will happen with the video is the people who do the videos will get the first raffle, and the winner of that will get to pick whether you want this book here or you want this statue, and then we'll do the raffle for everybody else, and then the winner of that will get whatever the prize is left. So if you do a video, it could be a just favorite book, whatever, that will get you into that round for first pick of either of these. So that's the prize for that. So I just wanted to give that plug for myself, for Secret Society Comics, and for hitting 5,000 subscribers here on the channel. So appreciate everybody, and wanted to do something to give back, and kind of pair up with a local vendor as well, local shop, just to kind of support and promote somebody locally, which I think we should all do, in whatever way we can, helping out our local folks. So there's that, and then there was something else I was going to promote. Let me just go ahead and say comicbook.com is live and hot, and everything's going posted. And if you do want to read an article, guess what? You can leave comments now. So very cool. So we got that.
Figured it out.
Yeah, they changed some of the steps in order to publish something. And now where something was automatic, it's actually an option that you have to select before you publish. So boom, got it figured out.
Like a hidden option too at that.
Yeah, right. It's not like where you would think it should be. Anyways, so okay, cool. So that's it. Chris is here. So very cool. Let's go ahead and jump into some of the topics. The first topic was actually something in relating to Phase 4 for Marvel. And this is something that we've actually talked about in the past. Before I say it, let me back up. Kevin Feige, I believe it was last year, he was talking about kind of what was coming up, and the press tour for Endgame and these movies. And I don't remember exactly what movie it was for, but he was basically saying that there's a short list, like there's a huge sandbox that they can play with now. Ton of characters. They want to do the cosmic. They want to do the grounded. There's just so much to play with. What has immediate potential? And back then he said that they do have a short list of characters, and one of those on that very short of the short list is Nova. Didn't say it was Sam Alexander. He didn't say it was Richard Rider. I hope it's Richard Rider. Actually, either one's cool. But we have a rumor that's out now that development has begun on Nova. So that's exciting, right? I did a video a while back, kind of like talking about Endgame and like what can we glean from that, or Infinity War rather. So that tells you how long ago it was. And when he attacked, like when the movie opened, he'd already had the stone that they had from the Nova Corps. He'd already destroyed Xandar, he'd already done that fight. We didn't see that. So why not? You know what I mean? So that could have been the place where Nova would have been like the remaining, member of the Nova Corps. So that could come out, I'm
glad they haven't like officially released news of that, because I still got to get a Nova #1.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like I have and that's just one of those books that you just kind of put off. Like I'm going to get it, but I'm in no rush. I'm going to get it. I'm in no rush. And then it starts creeping up in value, and you're like, crap.
It's
like, make a plan to get the book.
It's not a crazy price, and there's plenty out there. I'll pick it up. Next time I see it on the wall. Yeah, I got that right at the same time that I got the Captain Marvel #1.
Nice.
Maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago.
I got mine.
Any of those cosmic characters, good bet, honestly. I think like for somebody like Nova, you kind of, there's a lot you can do there. You get into like, they were actually talking. I read an article from the Hollywood Reporter today, and they were talking with Mick Feely, a couple of the writers. I forget the other guy's name. Anyways, they were talking with him and kind of talking about the process, what's come up, what do they want to do, what do they have to leave on the table. One of those things, of course, was Nova, but they wanted to do House of M. Like that's something that they really wanted to do, and they said it was really difficult without obviously mutants at the time, without X-Men to be able to do that. Obviously, they had Scarlet Witch, but that's but they're like, but you have to earn it. And then Kevin Feige was like, no. What I want to do is Secret Wars. So they were going back and forth. They're like, I want to do House of M. No, I want to do Secret Wars. And they, I haven't done either of those yet, but it's just kind of funny that they went back and forth. But then there was Nova thrown in there, Silver Surfer. We've talked about a bunch of these guys. Quasar is another one. Whole cosmic band thing. So, like I said at the beginning, the playground is wide open on what they can do. Cosmically. So
Quasar.
Yeah, Quasar.
Quasar.
Mr. Quasar.
Quasar.
Boom. Nice. So that actually it ties into another thing. And we'll just kind of a lot of this stuff kind of blends together. Yeah. So actually shout out to Lord of the Long Box. I got to give him credit for this. This was something that he actually talked about, kind of broke the news a couple weeks ago. This kind of came out big this week, but it was actually him on his show who talked about it, first. So credit where credit's due, and that would be to him. And that is Fantastic Four. Talking about cosmic stuff, of course, Fantastic Four is related to that. And surprisingly, when people asked Feige, like, what's going on? Get Fox, you get your X-Men, like, what's going to happen now? And he said, well, I'm probably not going to use the X-Men for like 5 years. And everyone's like, okay, that, and somehow that got into people's minds that they're not going to use the Fox characters for like 5 years or whatever. But he said the X-Men, not Fantastic Four. And what this new kind of thing now is that, yes, he's actually going to be doing the X-Men. It's going to be coming out for 2022. So really quickly, right? In the next couple of years. They're going to be doing an announcement. We'll talk about it, like when and the details of that in a moment. But that's a good question. We'll talk about that in a second. I'm seeing Comically Flawed here in the chat. He's got the question. So they're going to do Fantastic Four. What the source rumor is saying is that it's going to be Peyton Reed. Peyton Reed's the director from Ant-Man, I think, Ant-Man and the Wasp. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be a period piece set in the 60s. 60s technology sounds very Kirby-esque to me. Kind of almost fast-tracking that. And then again, kind of doing what they did with like Captain Marvel, for example, sort of shoehorning something in, instead of introing and moving that story forward. So this would be even further back from that. But it opens up a lot of questions for me. Like, where have they been since then? Not knowing the story, but where have they been? Why has nobody mentioned them? Like, did everybody forget about them? You know what I mean? Like, nobody, they were going back in time. Certainly he had something to do with the Tesseract, or I'm sure he ran into like Tony's dad, Hank Pym, we saw him in Ant-Man. He didn't say anything about, this guy, Reed Richards, so there's a lot of questions there that this opens up a lot of curiosity for me. So I got that. And then in terms of Peyton Reed, I think that's a pretty good choice. I guess Ant-Man and the Wasp wasn't like the best, most fun of the MCU films. If you list like your top 5, it's not in there for me, but it's a fun movie. Uh-huh. But it very well ties into the science aspect and the quantum realm and everything like that. So he's hugely familiar with that aspect, right? Which I think would be also pretty important for the Fantastic Four. So we'll have to see. Yeah. Right. But I want to get to Comically Flawed's question. He said, I'm curious, when they say Secret Wars, are they talking superhero Secret Wars, like the 80s one, the Jim Shooter one, or Secret Wars 2015? So that's an interesting question. I would think that they meant the original one just because it's like the iconic one.
Yeah.
But the ending for 2015 Secret Wars would kind of explain like the absence of the Fantastic Four that we've seen to date in the MCU, right? Like they've been off, creating other universes and stuff, until they came back. So I don't know. What do you guys think? What are your thoughts on all this?
Well, if they're gonna do Secret, I mean,
It's a lot to take in, right?
Well,
yeah.
I mean, in terms of like for a Secret Wars, I mean, what people are gonna want is a big grand, 80s, Secret Wars with all those characters and everything like that. And that's something that you got to build. I mean, I can see that being, where they try to end things off, but it's just there's so many characters that are built into that it would be really tough to pull off. So, I mean, I guess I want to see a Secret Wars with that. Oh, Jesse's gone.
What?
Yeah,
Which Secret Wars do you want to see?
I want to see I would like to see the original 80s one. But the 2015 one, though, if they're gonna explain, it all depends on where they're gonna go. If they want to explain why the Fantastic Four hasn't been there, then that makes sense to do that one.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just a
Ben's wall, Johnny's the sun.
I mean, I think I would like to see. All right, so if they could, I guess, do what they've done in previous movies and just incorporate a lot of different things, but still make it all Secret Wars, so that you can kind of, use the ending of Secret Wars 2015 or elements of it, and then bring that to make the 1984 one come to fruition. That would be really cool. I think that would be the best of both worlds, the best case scenario that I would like to see happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true. I mean, they'll probably do a blending of it. They'll take elements, the best elements of each one, and kind of do their own thing with it.
There's also Secret Wars 2.
That's right.
Boom, oh, yeah, with the Beyonder?
Yeah, some other stuff. So you never would know which way they could go. I think 2015 was like my favorite, though. Just because, just God King Doom was so awesome. And we got a Thor core book.
Yeah, true. That was a pretty dope book. Yeah.
That's where we got our A-Force team. A lot of stuff came out of that. That also was such a huge event because Marvel shut down everything. And every book got one of these Secret Wars miniseries runs or whatever, Yeah. So it was a really, really crazy time.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was a fun ride.
It was fun. Did you guys ever read Contest of Champions?
Yeah.
The real early 80s? Yeah.
Yeah.
That was kind of like the different name, but like the first kind of Secret Wars, like the first sort of event where they did that, where everybody was involved. That was really cool. Yeah. I wonder if they would do something like that, I don't know. Because they got the collector, and I'm sure they'll introduce the Grandmaster, and they'll play this fun game there. I don't know.
Oh yeah. I remember that. You're saying that just because I never read it. I remember it from the little iOS game, where it's just collector has his team.
Oh yeah, that's the video game. There was a mini series, and Silver Age Dave, shout out to he said it too. It was the first mini series that Marvel ever did. So it's pretty important little book there, little two-parter. And I've told this story before. Actually, I'll tell it again. One of the first books that I ever picked up, that I remember picking up anyways, was actually West Coast Avengers Annual #2.
Nice.
Random book, but it had a cover, like this white cover, and like a bunch of the Avengers on the cover, and they were just laying there like just dead. And I'm like, what is going on? And then you read it, and they actually had to kill themselves to go to this place to actually fight each other. And I'm like, what is going on? This is so weird. And then awesome, like weird but awesome, because I didn't understand it. Just that they were fighting each other. It was cool. That was one of my first intros into this hobby was that. And then I that was all I read. And then for years, I didn't know about it. But that was actually, so they did Contest of Champions, which I think was like 2 or 3 parts. And then many years later, they did a follow-up. So it was that book, that I read, the Avengers West Coast Avengers Annual 2, and then there was another annual for Avengers, which was that final follow-up for it. And they kind of wrapped up the story there. So it ended up being like 20 years later when I finally got the full scope of the story. Like I finally found like the Contest of Champions books. And then remember how Justin, we were talking about like when we kind of got back into the hobby, we just went back for like those old books, like those nostalgia books. And a lot of that was like the Image stuff. But for me, one of them was that book that I remember getting. So I picked that up. And then I kind of looked into it a little bit more and I realized it was part of this like overall story that had come out. Like that was from like, I don't know, 87 or 86 or something. But Contest of Champions was early 80s. Yeah. So there was like a 5-year gap in that story that they didn't end up getting to finish telling. So
wow. Then in the 90s, they did a second Contest of Champions, I remember.
Yeah.
I think I have like issue 1 of that miniseries.
Yeah. What if they just went like crazy and just did like Operation Galactic Storm?
That would be amazing.
Right? Wouldn't it be cool?
And then we could do Atlantis Attacks.
Yeah. I think, you know what? Funny you say that. I have a feeling that's what they're doing.
Really?
Yeah. Black Panther, Namor, Atlantis Attacks.
I mean, that would be so weird to have. Like, everyone's going to go back and be like, oh, I got to get these Namor books and all those ones that like make sense.
Yep.
And it's going to be like, nope, you got to get just these Atlantis Attacks books that like came out in the 90s that nobody cares about.
Yeah.
Hilarious. But I mean, why not? I mean, if he's gonna be a villain and an anti-hero, and you know, if they're gonna do Kingdom versus Kingdom, that most likely would end up being the story that they would do.
Right. Wait, and he's been teased. Namor's been teased, you know.
Yep. He's been teased. Everyone wants to see it happen.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think that when it comes down to that type of stuff, it's just everybody's trying to, you know, connect so many dots that it's just like it's so tough to just kind of wait it out and see what happens next.
It is. It's weird because we've never really been at a point where there's been so much potential and no confirmations.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, like we don't know what's coming after Far From Home. Like we can speculate till the cows come home, which is weird because I live in a city and there's no cows. But we don't know. So it's
exactly. And if you give it and everybody over at Marvel, it's perfect because it's just like you just sit there and be like, all right, so what, you know, like you said, the big sandbox and what can you do and what do you want to do? It's like, you know, I mean, there's so much there that it's just like, you know, where do we want to go? Like what do we want to do? And then on top of that too, with the you know, the Disney service, and it's just like, all right, what are we gonna do as actual shows? What are we gonna do as movies? What are we gonna put onto that and then move into a movie? Like, I mean, there's tons of possibilities as to what they're gonna do. So I mean, they really have the opportunity.
That's true. It's not just the MCU. It's Hulu and it's Disney Plus and it's, you know, all this other stuff. So
it's just like you have so many different you know, they have so many different avenues they can go and so much they can do to play with the fans, the expectations and everything else. Like, I mean, they really could, you know, I mean, drop all kinds of crazy hints and just
Jesse,
really,
check the comments. Check the comments. TiVo said to check your messenger. He's got some new news.
Okay. All right, cool.
Share.
Yeah, I'll check that out.
But it's actually funny too because I was watching something today, you know, and they were talking about WWE and you know, Bray Wyatt and his new character and what he's doing and everything.
Talking about wrestling. Woo!
Well, the thing, this is what got me to thinking about it though, is that like with that, like they were saying that you know, he went ahead and said that like he had done promos from way back whenever that all contained some type of hidden sentence that wasn't supposed to be there. So he wanted the fans to kind of go back and do like a scavenger hunt to figure it all out. And then he ended up revealing what it was, and people were like, oh wow, that's cool. Like I didn't know that you were setting that up way back then. So I feel like, you know, Kevin Feige and them can do the exact same thing where they just kind of drop all these little hints all over the place, and then, you know, you just connect all the dots back to it, and it's like, yep, this is what it's going to be. So
exactly. They're really good. They'll plant seeds, and they'll be kind of like they'll reference things, but they'll be vague enough that they can be referenced to more than one thing, right? And then like 2 years later, it will pay off. You know, that one little Easter egg, or you know.
Well, and that's my thing is like, especially with the new Guardians movie and things like that, when they go more cosmic, they'll be able to mention now like the Shi'ar or something like that, not have to show them, but go ahead and mention them because that universe now exists in this universe. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like they have free reign to just like Easter eggs now are just going to be nuts.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And there was a Tom Holland Spider-Man. He was at some convention like a couple days ago, and he was talking about Far From Home and like this and that, and he actually let slip about the multiverse. So people are like, "Well, is Mysterio like legitimately, you know, referencing the multiverse, or is that part of his like his grand con that he's trying to pull, right?" And then also, of course, they I think it was Doctor Strange actually they talked about the multiverse. So pretty much confirmed there. And that just opens up, like, you think that opens what we're talking about opens up for this universe. Now there's like all these other universes, you know what I mean, that they can pull from. So maybe that's where the Fantastic Four went. Yeah. There's also news, and I think I I've been having fun making these videos, just kind of connecting these dots. Like, we don't know, but it's just fun to like use what we've read, you know, as comic book readers and fans to like kind of try to put pieces together, you know, what fits here and there. And of course, one of those things is Norman Osborn, Oscorp, Thunderbolts, Dark Reign, Iron Patriot, you know, all this stuff that it's fun to think about. But talking about Doctor Strange, there is news that that's going to start filming in January of next year, 2020, and it'll start filming. They do a lot of filming. I forget the name of the studio. It's in England, and that's where they're going to start with that. So Doctor Strange 2 would be there, which ties into this other stuff, because if you talk about Namor, Silver Surfer, Fantastic Four, Doctor Strange, all that can like kind of like play into each other, you know, like a lot of those characters are the Defenders, and you know, the Defenders, you know, played with FF for a while. And with that, I got to give you guys a Lords of the Long Box exclusive for JLS Comics for this show.
Dun, dun, dun.
Okay. So we're talking about Fantastic Four. The news that would be actually kind of I want to say fast tracked, because that's going to be coming up pretty soon, like we said, 2022, kind of 60s era. So here's the thing, in terms of the casting, apparently Emily Blunt is in talks to be Sue Storm.
Nice.
Great pick. Great pick. And then Hellboy, David Harbour, of course. I didn't see Hellboy, so let's not use that to judge. But David Harbour, who I do like, he's great in Stranger Things, right? Yeah. He is in talks to play Ben Grimm.
Yeah,
nice.
I think that's a great pick, right? That's a really good pick. And then when I hear Emily Blunt, my mind immediately goes to John Krasinski,
her husband. Yeah,
right, exactly, for Reed. Yep. That would be awesome, right? And then, you know, we would talk about like Tim also broke the news about Keanu Reeves in talks for Silver Surfer. He could be part of that too, you know? So a lot of this is coming together, right? It's still vague enough, and we're putting these pieces together, and it just sounds pretty awesome. I'm getting excited just thinking about it. So yeah. What do you guys think of that casting? That's pretty cool, right? And again, that comes from Lords of the Long Box. He has an anonymous source called the Black Knight that this comes from. And it's pretty cool. So
I think that would be awesome. I just wonder if Chris Evans is going to play Human Torch.
Yeah, right. He'll go back to that. Yeah. Well, that would be weird, because if this is no, he'd be a few years after the war. No, I guess he could do it. I don't know.
He would be in the ice, or he'd be in Peggy's house.
I was going to say there's kind of overlap there.
So he would be in the ice and in Peggy's house at the same time.
And he'd be no, that would mean there'd be 3 Chris Pines in the 60s. That would be weird. Get up 3 Chris Pines. I mean, Chris Evans. That would be weird.
And then that's what causes all the rips in the multiverse. It's Captain America occupying too many facial coordinates at the same time.
Yeah, the particles, it's called superposition. They can exist in more than one place at one time, right? It's quantum physics for you. Yeah,
whatever. As long as we somehow get Spider-Man showing up at the Fantastic Four place, and needing a suit.
Yeah.
but then having to use a bag for his head.
Yeah. I mean, you got to think about there's a lot of technology out there. Thanos' ship crashed. There's all this stuff they've been buying from the Chitauri in the Battle of New York, like Walter Goggins' character in Ant-Man, who was his buyer. Like, there's some people like that. So it's either Norman Osborn or it's, the Richards, trying to buy up some tech to reverse engineer,
Or AIM or somebody like that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. We don't know. Like, I think it's Oscorp who bought Stark Tower, right? Remember that from I almost said Far From Home, from Homecoming, the whole thing where Happy was selling it off, and you remember that?
Yep.
Who bought it, right? Now it could be, I think it's Oscorp. Fuck you, Grace Randolph, but it could be could be the Fantastic Four too. Who knows? So speculation, it's always fun. All right, cool. So, okay, did you guys see Dark Phoenix?
Not
yet. Okay.
What?
Honestly, there's a lot wrong with that. I don't know if it's like I have the feeling without I didn't read any of the reviews. I didn't see anything. All I've seen is just the Rotten Tomato. People keep posting Rotten Tomato score and everything, which I don't full out go by. But I have a feeling that this is going to be so. Fox X-Men or the X-Men movies that Fox has made have been very hit or miss, and really I feel like this is just going to be a big miss, but a couple of different reasons. First, it's the end of their run of movies, so I don't think they put the full effort into it that they probably should have. Second, and I think this is one of the biggest ones, and I think that it's partially unfair in a way, but it is what it is. They're basically trying to adapt arguably the best run and series of stories from the X-Men franchise altogether.
I would go further than that. I would say from comics in general.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm just saying, you have before and throughout the Baron Claremont run. It's just those are hard books to adapt to anything, and it's just like if your heart's not into it, and if you don't have the right, if you don't have the right motivation, it's not going to come out looking well. So I think that honestly, in order for it to be done right and look good, it would have to be done by Marvel Studios. And the fact that Fox did it, I just don't have high hopes for it. So I'm not going to rush out and see it. I feel like when I get a chance, I'll go out and see it. But I know to go in there with very low expectations.
Yeah, and you definitely should. And I would never say to anybody, don't see a movie. That's obviously reviews, critics' opinions are one thing, but you got to go and see it and formulate your own opinion. That being said, I did see it earlier this week, and I had heard some things about it that weren't too complimentary, and those things turned out to be pretty accurate. Simon Kinberg, this is his directorial debut, and he was a writer on The Last Stand. So basically, it's like him kind of like redoing his own work, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's weird because we know that Marvel's bought all these characters. It's like they're toys now, and it's this weird part where it's like it just feels like Fox is over, you know what I mean? That stories are over. So why do we care about this? And the cast changed pretty recently. I don't have like this emotional connection to these characters. I'm like, give me my Patrick Stewart and those guys. That's my Fox X-Men cast. That being said, I do like Sophie Turner, and in my review, I put one up earlier. I said, and Chris, you'll appreciate this, that this film is the Game of Thrones season 8 of the X-Men franchise. So, yeah. That's I don't take it as you want, but for me, that means that they wrapped it up too fast. The characterization was bad. It just wasn't a very good ending to this 19-year story that they've been trying to do. This is one of the things that actually kind of opened up the doors for what we have now for these movies. So it's a pretty important franchise. And yes, I know we had like Blade and everything else, but the X-Men franchise kind of really kicked that door wide open for these types of movies. Lords of the Longbox had a question. He said about the Rotten Tomatoes score. So there was a lot of things happening with like review bombing, with Captain Marvel, and people just kind of going on there. People that probably hadn't seen the movie, and they were doing these like horrible reviews, but not actually reviewing the movie. Just kind of saying Brie Larson is trash, SJW trash. He's horrible. Like F Brie. They didn't see the movie, so Rotten Tomatoes was like, okay, we need to kind of figure out something to fix this. So what they did was, now when you do a review or want to do a review, you have to verify that you've actually seen the movie to do the review. Right now, they only have a couple like options to do it. What they're trying to do, I think, is have like, it says coming soon, so I couldn't do it, but they have AMC, Fandango, and a couple other outlets. So I think you have to link your account and like share that you share your ticket that you saw the movie, right? So that you can do your review. But for somebody like me who sees them early, I don't get a ticket. I have like a thing that's sent to me that I have to bring that kind of like say, let me in.
Right. I'm allowed to be here.
Yes, exactly. I am a critic, damn it. Maybe not a great one, but I am a critic nonetheless. I there's no way for me to verify. So I actually tried to go this morning and put in my review and put in my nice little quote there that I just gave you about the Game of Thrones. Sophie Turner, Sansa, I thought it was appropriate. But I couldn't because of that. And I'm just a little bit frustrated by that because I wanted to share my opinion. Somebody who's legitimately already seen it. But, go into it, like I said, make your own opinion, of course, but just maybe not have the greatest expectations for it. So
yeah, I guess I'll do what I did with X-Men Apocalypse.
Yeah,
and wait for it to come out.
Wait for this one. I would say wait for it to come out on Redbox if you guys go to Redbox.
Yeah,
but take it one step further and wait for them to send you a code.
Ah, wow. All right, cool.
So yeah, yeah. I have a review up. You can watch it. It's mostly spoiler free. I gave a little like high level plot elements, but I gave it a 4 out of 10. It has some things that are cool about it. Some cool like fan service moments, which I like. I'm not ashamed to admit that, but not enough to put it into the more of the positive side, which would be like 5 would be exactly like in the middle. 5.5. It's got a little bit more redeeming qualities than the negative, but I'm more towards the negative side on that scale, which would I guess be some diggities. Not that's from something. Anyways, that's a bad joke without knowing what I'm talking about with that. So, Lord says he's seeing X-Men on Saturday. Comically Flawed said, didn't see Captain Marvel, but did see Endgame. Still maintain my point that a Pomeranian could have played the part. Yeah. 3 movies a week. 3 movies a week would be A-list, right? You have Stubbs A-list. That's what I do 3 movies a week with. There's actually a movie coming out. I was going to see it on Monday, but I'm not going to be able to because of work. Called The Dead Don't Die. It looks really cool. Great cast. It's like a horror movie. It's a zombie movie if you like that type of thing. Looks really good. The trailer dropped on April 1st, April Fool's Day. And I was talking with Brian, Take the Time Collectibles, and we're like, this looks like too crazy. Like, is this a joke? Just because it looked like too good to be true. So there's that. The next thing I wanted to get into with you guys is something. There's a lady. Her name is Victoria Alonso, and I don't know if she is related to Axel Alonso, but same last name. She's EVP of production over at Marvel.
Yeah.
And she said that the X-Men name is outdated.
Yep.
The X-Men name is outdated. So Deadpool kind of joked a little bit about that. And then in Dark Phoenix, Mystique and Jessica Chastain's characters both kind of allude to what she's saying. And this is her quote. It's funny that people call it the X-Men. There's a lot of female superheroes in that X-Men group, so I think it's outdated. To me, that is ridiculous. That's like saying the word mankind is not good because it's got
human.
man in the name, you know.
Or human.
Exactly. Yeah. To me, that's ridiculous. But
if I was in charge at Marvel and I heard her say something like that, like, well, so the X-Men name is outdated. So the one of the top franchises we've ever had is outdated, and so is your employment here. Get your shit and go. Like, you got to be out of your mind. You say so. What do you want to call them? I mean, it doesn't matter about like. I'm not so much the whole men and women equal. It's just stupid. Like, it's been the X-Men for all this time. It's still the X-Men now. You just got them back, and you want to change the name? Like, no, you need to
Well, I mean, yeah, and it wasn't just a few years ago that the actual title X-Men was a female-only X-Men book. Like, you had All New and Uncanny that other things were going on, but there was just an X-Men book that was just all female.
Yeah.
So I don't get that at all.
X-Women, yeah. They could do X-Force, Excalibur, X-Factor, Externals, X-Nation, X-People. I'm trying to think. I'm going on. DMX, X-Tina, X-Pac. No, that's
Exhibit.
Yeah. X gonna give it to you. So there's a lot of names that they could go if they wanted to, I guess, but the brand recognition is with the X-Men name, like that's gotta be.
Yeah, well, I mean, your only other option is to just call them mutants.
Yeah. I just see
X-Mutants.
Like they can do whatever they want, but at that moment, I mean, and maybe not just there and be like, oh, you know what I mean? And maybe it's a little extreme. Like, I would fire her, but like, I would just, if it's a situation like that, it's like, okay, so you're not allowed to make any more decisions. Like, that's the end of any of your decision making when you say something so foolish. Like, and I mean, that might have just been done to get people to start talking. You know what I mean? Like, who knows? But I just, I mean, and because I watched the video and the look on her face, like, potentially she looks like she's trying just to like get a rise out of people.
Yeah.
So I mean,
the pot,
serious that comment is, but it's just like, I mean, it's just a foolish thing to say. But whatever, do what you want.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, but I mean, they kind of alluded to it a couple times, like in the movies. And you'll see it when you see Dark Phoenix. Two characters kind of make this little reference here. So, all right, so let's talk about some cancellations. Happy and Deadly Class have both been canceled. Sci-fi shows, right? I like both of them. They're both really good. I will say, though, that they are still shopping it around. The producers are shopping those shows around, and that both Happy and Deadly Class had really good like second airings, kind of second runs, so to speak, on Netflix. And to me, that sounds like a good fit for those two shows. If they wound up on Netflix, that would be fine. I'd be happy with that. Hopefully they'll do new seasons, you know what I mean, in that way. But at least for now, they're done. No more on Sci-Fi. So there's that. I'll ask you about that. And then we're going to talk about Swamp Thing, because they mentioned it in the chat. So we'll talk about that. But what do you guys think first about Deadly Class and about Happy?
I mean, it's strange. I mean, they're heavily pushing Krypton season 2. So they felt that got a big enough push. I thought Deadly Class did, and Happy is, it seemed like they've been pushing that really hard too for them to just go ahead and pull the plug on it. It feels like, I mean, is there a season coming out now and then it's canceled after that, or just done?
Done.
Yeah, that just seems like a huge waste of money on their part.
Yeah.
Or something happened in the background we don't know about.
Yeah.
I'll lean more towards that. Something must have come up where like they couldn't get the numbers right for a second season. Maybe the people that were making those shows wanted more money because potentially, I mean, if they had good ratings and if it was something that like, did well for Sci-Fi, maybe Sci-Fi was just like, we can't afford a big budget show like this. So,
What else do they have though, honestly? Like,
well, I think Sci-Fi, I think part of
Sharktopus.
Well, that's the thing. Part of their appeal is just making really cheesy and campy stuff. And I don't know if having like long running, series on there that like, really is something that goes along with their model and what they're doing. So it might, so I think it's like they probably, realize that, it's a good thing to have a success on their hands, but how many, could they afford the budget for that show to keep it running? I mean, that might have been a situation where they had to kind of figure out, something that they'd have to cut loose. And so maybe that's why they did it. But I mean, I think Netflix will probably pick that up just because I mean they already have Umbrella Academy to have Deadly Class 2, which is like and they're trying to bolster up all their comic properties, so why not?
Yeah, and they obviously track like who streams what, how many people, and they did pretty well there. So they had a good response. That would incentivize them to go after that,
Yep.
So hopefully, we'll see. All right, so let's talk about Swamp Thing. Swamp Thing was one of those shows that was coming up on DC Universe live action. Haven't seen it. There's only one episode out, but I hear really good things about it.
I saw the trailer and like the preview stuff.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
been coming out in the last like couple weeks.
Yeah, so it's been kind of plagued with some issues even up to now. Budgetary reasons. They had an issue where they were going to do 13 issue. What is it called? 13 episodes. There we go. Oh my god.
Right.
13 episodes. They got the call. They had to shut down production. So they were on like, filming actually on set for like 11, 12, or 13. They got the call. They said, shut it down. Then we found out that it was going from 13 down to 10 episodes, which is fine. Netflix did that. Like how long was, what was it called? Defenders, right? That was 8, 10 episodes, right? That's fine. It's not connected to the other shows like Titans and Doom Patrol, which again, that's fine too. Kind of like how the Jackson Pierce show is, Jefferson Pierce, Black Lightning, CW, but not connected yet. But now we actually, one episode's out and all of a sudden, boom, done. One already canceled. One season and they're done. And people are like, why? What's going on? So there's a couple aspects to it. I'll tell you what those are, then I want to get your thoughts. First one is actually this came out at a couple news outlets today that DC, Warner Media, that is reconsidering the DC Universe platform. How viable is it? What are we going to do with it? They've also announced the Warner streaming service. There's some pricing out there now. I think it's around like $15, $16 is what they're estimating a month. And the obvious thing would be, hey, we've talked about this before, but hey, let's go ahead and put this on all together. Kind of like how Marvel is all up in the Disney Plus that we're going to get, right? So it's everything. It's Pixar, it's Disney Vault, it's Marvel. You know what I mean? It's not just Marvel, right? In the same concept, it wouldn't be just DC. It would be all of Warner, So that would kind of pull in a lot more customers, right? And that type of thing. And just position them a little bit better kind of in terms of market share, how many people they can capture. So there's that. The second thing is they were actually filming in North Carolina. They were filming Swamp Thing in North Carolina. One of the reasons they chose North Carolina is because the state offered them a $40 million rebate, a tax break. Great. On an $80 million budget, you're going to give us back $40 million. That's fantastic. Turns out that it was actually some type of error, and they readjusted the number to $14 million. So they were going to give a $14 million rebate instead of $40 million. That's a lot of money difference. Yeah. Yes. So they actually said, you know what, that's not going to be viable for us anymore. That's too much money to spend. They want to keep up the quality, obviously, in another season, as they did with this season, which would mean throwing up millions and millions of their own. And they said, no, we can't do it. So that was actually the primary reason. So they got the call yesterday that they're done. Everybody got notified on cast and crew that's it. So yeah. So those two aspects there. But what's your reaction to that? Like, what do you guys think about that and kind of the future of the DC platform, kind of based on all that information?
I mean, I kind of see that as a natural progression that would probably happen at some point.
Yeah.
For it to roll into the parent company streaming service.
Mm-hmm.
It just so happened that theirs got going first, type thing. They push for it faster, maybe. It's weird, but I can see that they want to go ahead and cut costs, especially if there's like that significant of a, they aren't going to save basically $25 million now. I could see that hurting them and wanting to roll it in. But my bigger question would be, what happens to the shows that have already been out? Are we going to get a second season of Titans and Doom Patrol? Because Doom Patrol was really good.
Yeah.
If you haven't watched that,
question.
Everybody needs to go watch Doom Patrol. That's worth watching.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
yeah. They're talking in the chat about DC, kind of not just with the DC universe, but like DC with the films and their properties. Like, what are they doing? Do they even know what's going on? Like we get announcements and they throw stuff up, and we hear news and we hear rumors and leaks and all this stuff, and then a week later it's like actually we decided not to do that. You know what I mean? So many times we've heard that. It's kind of like they don't know, like they don't, I mean, they have Jeff Johns and some folks over there, but they don't have like a Kevin Feige, to kind of helm the ship.
Who's running DC animation? And just put that person at the head of DC film.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the animated movies they've been pumping out have been great. Or even if it's not awesome, it's good,
They've been good for years. Like there's not many bad DC animated movies. And even the ones that are kind of subpar compared to the rest of them, you can still find pretty redeeming stuff within it. So it's just like whoever's making the decisions in the animation side should definitely be up there in the live action side and figure out, like, get this stuff straight and working in the way it needs to be.
Yeah, I've kind of noticed that most of people's complaints with the DC animation isn't so much about like it was a bad movie or a bad plot, or what I mean. It was more about their choice with a couple scenes to be extra edgy, like Killing Joke, for example. There was that scene, everyone's like, why? And they've done that. What was it? Batman and Harley Quinn, same thing. Like, why was she doing that to Nightwing? And so there's always a big takeaway like that's what people focus on, but like the actual movie is fine. The animation itself, that style I like. They always have like fantastic voice actors. If it's not Mark Hamill, it's Todd Conroy, or they got ton of people that huge names that are these voice actors. So
Eric Roberts been in a bunch of stuff too.
Yeah.
Well, but I mean, even going back to like Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, they could just cherry pick episodes and make a movie.
Yep.
And they don't even have to think that hard about making it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. They could do like that whole story for the man who has everything. That was a great episode.
That would be an amazing Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman episode. Come on. Movie.
Yeah. There's a
bunch of great stuff that they had on that show that just, I mean, literally was just fun to watch. And it's just like, there's that one where they kind of have to deal with that little kid who's like little medieval prince. Like, I remember that one where they all basically turned to kids for a while and stuff like that. I mean, a great movie, but it's just, I'm just thinking of just episodes off the top of my head that were just really fun and good to do. And I mean,
or even when they got into Justice League United, when it was about like you had the Green Arrow, Black Canary episodes with Huntress and the Question and stuff like that. Like, I mean, they could do so much stuff with all of these characters, and they've even now had success with Wonder Woman and Aquaman. But it just feels like they're still just dragging their feet.
Yeah.
We've cast a new Batman. Okay. We're getting a Joker movie that has nothing to do with anything whatsoever. Good. Whoop-de-crap. We're getting a Birds of Prey movie. Okay. I mean, but like, you're not giving us what your company is built on.
Well, I think that like Superman, obviously, that's kind of like you would think, the trilogy, right? You got Wonder Woman, you got Batman, so they're doing those two. They're moving forward with those in some capacity or another. But with Superman, it's like they don't really know how to handle that character. For me, like, and I'm kind of getting up there, but the best kind of Superman is that kind of like wholesome, like Boy Scout sort of guy, the Christopher Reeve style, you know.
Right.
But I don't think that would translate too much. Yeah, like that doesn't in this day and age. And I think that they knew that, and that's why they went with like the emo stoic Superman, but that didn't work either. So they pull back from that, you know. Now they're like, hey, well, if we're not gonna do Superman, let's go ahead and do Supergirl, right? That's the new rumor. Supergirl actually might get kind of fast tracked, so we don't have an official kind of announcement about that, but that's out there. And what I'm hearing is if Supergirl does well, then they'll do Superboy as the follow up to that. And they kind of have like if this then that sort of kind of things. Like if Birds of Prey does well, which is a movie that you mentioned, then they'll do actually a Black Canary movie. And a Black Canary movie would have Green Arrow in it.
Crap, now I gotta go see this Birds of Prey movie to give a Green Arrow.
Exactly. Man. Yeah, if you want Green Arrow in a movie, you gotta go support Birds of Prey, okay?
All right, everybody, we're going to see Birds of Prey.
There you go. Get your ticket, get in the car. No. Yeah, so it's like they're I don't know. Kevin Feige's years ago was like, yeah, we got movies planned out to 2026, you know? And that was years ago. They do 5-10 years into the future. They're already thinking about phase 5. I wouldn't be surprised. They have, so I saw this cool thing. So they have like all the characters. They have like cards, you know, with the characters and who they want to do. And they sit with the writer. They're in the writer's room and they kind of throw ideas back and forth. And then they also have like a stack of cards, actually. That's so funny for the actors. And they have like the name. They don't have the salary on there, but they have like, were they part of a story, you know, important stories, like how many more movies do they have on their contract? You know, can we just kind of re-up them on a new contract? So they have like all these like trading cards, and that's how they like plot out the future, and they go 5-10 years ahead. But for DC, it's like, I don't know, like, I don't know. It's say like you took your girlfriend to the pool and she was like, you just jump in. So you're Marvel. You just like jump into the deep end, like you float there and have your beer and you just float. And then your girlfriend's over there and she goes up with her little toe and she's like, she wants to jump in, but like, you know, she can't because the water's too cold. So she like just freaking like dips her foot in the water. And that's DC. They're like, they want to move ahead. They want to jump in, but they've kind of like gotten too cold a few times, you know, like some of these movies didn't do so well. So they're kind of like afraid to like jump in and commit to stuff. They want to see what's going to work first. And then once that works, then they'll kind of take these other motions, but they have like things kind of like in place, ready to go. So if that does well, they can move this way. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It gives the impression that they don't know what they want to do, but they're just super cautious at this point. And I think that plays into their strategy with DC Universe too, just like overly cautious with it. It's like almost like, oh my God, we don't have 1 billion people sign up. Do they not like it? Maybe we need to reconsider it, you know? So they're just kind of, I don't know. I'm just rambling right now.
They're just making it sad. They're just making it sad.
The thing about it is, and they need to stop worrying about what works per se, and just go back to doing what they did before Marvel came out with a connected universe and everything that kind of worked out in their favor and kind of helped them make all these movies successful. Just make good movies. I don't understand why it's such a hard thing. It doesn't matter if they connect up. It doesn't matter if they have any sort of, you know, overarching theme with them and everything. Just make good movies. That's it.
Yeah.
And they refuse to do it. Like, I mean, if you want to connect movies together, make sequels to those movies or something. And then if you want to bring them together, then you can at some point. But Jesus Christ, just go back to making good movies. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see how I like, you know, like I finally saw Shazam and I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I thought it was a fun movie.
I liked it too.
You know what I mean? Keep it in its own vein, and then you let that do its own thing, and then just establish other characters. Because I don't think that people necessarily for DC side want a shared universe per se. I just think they just want good movies, like good characters and good stories. Just do that. That's all you got to do.
Yeah. For a while there, they were, at least this was the impression that I got, more concerned with setting up the next movie than telling a good story of the movie we're actually in right now. You know,
right?
it was all about, hey, let's Marvel does all these Easter eggs and they setups, and Nick Fury walks out at the end, and oh my God, so we got to do those things, instead of focusing on what you got in front of you. Let me get to the chat here. We haven't shouted out some folks in the chat. Wellington Smithophilus Esquire, he says, I really like TMNT versus Baton. Batman.
Yeah, but he meant Batman.
Yeah. Okay. Versus Baton, yeah. Lords of the Longbox says Superman Red Sun needs to be an animated movie. Yeah, that would be really good. I kind of was. Did you guys see Brightburn?
No, not yet.
Yeah.
Oh, you got to see it. It's really good.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's cool. So it's kind of that alternate, Superman story. What if he came down and he was something else? So in the case of Red Sun, what if he came down in Russia, in Soviet Russia?
Zod's kid.
Yeah. But Brightburn was he came down and he's bad. It's gory. It's cool. I hope they do. I hope they do more of them because they actually tease other people, in that world. So they could. But if the James Gunn story, it was kind of like a fuck you to Marvel and to superhero movies, because he had obviously gotten let go from Disney at the time, and he was hired back a lot sooner than we realized. But he was off for a while, and he had to do his own thing. And then DC obviously picked him up, and I guess that worked out in his favor because he did his movie, he got his contract for the new Suicide Squad movie, right? And then he got rehired by Disney, so we got a new contract. So overall, financially, I think he did better for him. Nate, okay, let me get back to the chat. I got distracted. Sleepy Reader says, "Oh no, Lords of the Longbox said DC is the girlfriend that will drown." Yeah, hopefully not, but they'll be the ones without the floaties on their arms. Sleepy Reader says DC does seem very tentative. Absolutely. Let's see. Wellington agrees with you, Chris. Just make good movies and let it play out organically. Absolutely.
That's all.
Then Iconic Point said Feige had the Avengers script ready before Iron Man. Pick a story and build from there. Infinite Crisis, Flashpoint, backwards design if you're going for a shared universe. Yeah, exactly. That would really work. Yeah. Brightburn was okay. Nate Nax, shout out to you, man. He says, I thought the premise for Brightburn was great, but I didn't like the second half. Yeah, second half kind of got balls to the wall there. It was pretty bonkers.
It was creative, though. It was creative.
Yeah. There's some characters that I wish things hadn't happened to that did. I'm trying to be, they know what I mean, but I'm trying to be vague for folks who haven't seen it yet. So.
Yep.
All right, so let's talking about plans and what's coming up. There's two aspects to this next topic. I'm jumping ahead a little bit because we're going to talk about Tom King and the AKIRA adaptation. But okay, so two big things coming up. So San Diego Comic-Con, obviously, in July, beginning of July, is a huge, right? That's always the big thing. And the Hall H, oh my God, that's when everything comes out. So that's always the big thing. But this year, we have news that Warner Brothers is not going to do Hall H proper. They're not going to be there doing their announcements like they normally do. Maybe they were hey, Marvel's got some big, we got big news, but Marvel's going to kind of outshine us, so they're going to do their own thing. No Hall H, but they're going to be there. They're going to be pairing up with Warner. They're going to have a booth on the showroom floor, big booth, this whole experience. That's where they'll be. But they're not going to do the typical panel announcements and all that stuff. So I have a feeling they'll do that, and then they'll do trailer releases and stuff, teasers throughout. So that's, I think, their strategy. And then Patty Jenkins, okay, and you can see it. What I'm going to reference, you can see it in the thumbnail for this video. Patty Jenkins was talking about this news, and she's like, "Hey, I'm sure you've heard by now, Warner Brothers is not going to be at Hall H. Where we wanted to go, but we're sad we can't." So she said here's a poster for Wonder Woman 84, the next Wonder Woman movie, which basically comes out in a year. And she also said they're going to start the full campaign in December. So we'll start getting some teases and stuff like that in December. Holiday season, right? Good timing. So that's cool. But did you guys see the poster?
Yep.
Big, bright, very Technicolor, very 80s, very psychedelic, I guess. So Wonder Woman's there, and she's got like this gold armor on. We were talking about like alternate stories. My first thought for that was actually Kingdom Come, Elseworld story.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that?
Yeah.
She had wings and stuff, but she had like the gold armored suit on it, and that was kind of my first thought when I saw that. But I think I like it. Some people didn't like; they want to see her thighs and everything. But I think it was cool.
I think she'll be fighting gods, so she'll need super armor.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe Magog will be in there.
No.
Well, I was thinking of the Kingdom Come story.
Oh. Oh, that one. I thought you were talking about the character from Thor.
Oh, no. There was
Magog.
Yeah. No, there was basically what happened was it was kind of in the future, and they basically all the heroes had like kind of retired, and then this guy came up. He could like kill people, and he didn't have any qualms with that, and he was just kind of being the guy. And then all hell broke loose after that, and Wonder Woman got kicked out of Themyscira or something like that. But in that story, so they had like Superman. He kind of like restarted the Justice League, and then Batman had his Outsiders, which was all like the next gen. Like, so all these superheroes are coming back, and Wonder Woman was there too, and she had this big like gold like armored costume on with these like gold wings and stuff, and pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I have a Mark Waid signed Kingdom Come #1. That's pretty cool.
That is nice.
Yeah. So, Chris, what do you think of it? Do you think it's like nice?
I nodded when you said Kingdom Come. That's what it reminds me. Yeah. Minus the whole like bird helmet thing that she would wear in that. But it looks just like that. So I mean, if she's gonna be taking on stronger villains and stuff, potentially gods or even like Cheetah or something like that. I mean, it makes.
Oh yeah, that's right. Cheetah's in this.
It makes she's gonna armor. It's not like what I mean. She's not just going into war into the mortal world where she's pretty much bulletproof and she basically outshines all them with no problem. Like she's fighting a formidable adversary this time around. So yeah, she needs to be fully armored and ready to fight.
Yeah, and it's just one picture. It's not like she's not gonna like.
Right, it's a promo picture.
Costume changes, it's a 2-hour movie. I'm sure she'll wear more than one thing. So
she'll
calm down, people.
It'll be all right.
The 80s, she's got to change like 9 times.
It's not the Puritan Wonder Woman. This is just like you said, there's just the one picture. You'll be able to get your Gal Gadot fixed with no problem.
That's right. Yeah. So, all right. So, Captain Marvel. Brie Larson. She was at the opening for Galaxy's Edge, Star Wars Park in California, the opening weekend.
Yep.
Lucky that you got to go. But she was out there in the crowd and everything, and she actually got to see Ashley Eckstein, who voices Ahsoka on Clone Wars.
Yep.
But she was there, like kind of like just getting all excited. There was there's this area that's called what's it called? Black Spire. That's the area where like the Millennium Falcon is. So there was like this whole ceremony thing there, and she was like this video of her that people got where they were like recording her and stuff. And Ashley was like, "Oh man, she's so cool. She is like Captain Marvel, like inside the movie and out or whatever." And then people actually took a look at that and were like, "Hey, well, Ashley is basically like vouching for her." And Ashley is the voice of Ahsoka. Does that mean that Brie is going to be Ahsoka? So if you hear that, that's kind of like how the trail of thought from that hit. Just she was commenting on Brie as Captain Marvel.
Uh-huh.
That's basically it. And then like a while back, like Brie was doing like a press tour with Sam Jackson. Yep. And he was asked about like Mace Windu and stuff like that, and like we've talked about that in the past. And then she was basically like, "Oh yeah, I wish I was a Jedi. I want to hold this." Out of context sounds weird, but she said, "I want to hold Mace Windu's lightsaber."
There you go.
So yeah, so put all that together, and but so there's two questions there for you guys. Would you like to see Ahsoka, like live action Ahsoka? And what do you think? And this is hypothetical because I don't think it'll happen. But if Brie Larson was Ahsoka Tano,
I would like to see live action. That would be cool.
Mhm.
I don't know about her though. I think that Ahsoka has to be younger.
Yeah.
I think that she's too old to play Ahsoka.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't even know how we would see her because it would have to be a movie they haven't announced because all the timeline stuff they've announced is
Yeah.
way
It
before
would have
that.
to be one of the extended universe stuff.
Yeah, it'd have to be like a standalone little movie.
One and all that jazz.
Yeah.
Yeah. It could be like a couple years away, something on like Disney Plus, right? Somewhere.
Yeah, true.
Like,
Yeah.
True.
So,
But sure, would like to see that character. Not really sure, Brie.
Yeah. I mean, and that's just the only thing I can think of. Is just like mostly. I mean, if she was younger, then yeah, why not? But if she, I mean, the fact that she's older, it's just like I don't think Ahsoka made it that far. I think Ahsoka died before that point, so she would have to be just a younger. Yeah, it'd have to be someone who's in their teens that would.
Well, we assume we don't know what happened to her yet.
Yeah.
yeah.
She could still be somewhere kicking it around.
Yeah. Maul came back, Palpatine seemed like he came back.
Yeah.
Seems like one of those characters they
Boba
probably
came
wouldn't
back.
kill.
Yeah. She's too popular, I like to see her, and I know some people don't like her, but I actually do like Dr. Aphra. So I'd like to see her kind of show up somewhere too. So yeah. We actually did get so kind of going back to the whole like Hall H thing. People were, and we talked about it before, like we don't know what's coming up for the MCU, like what's happening, and people were speculating, and Feige said it like last year they didn't do Hall H, remember that, just because of their proximity to some of the movies, so they backed out of that. Fine, but he also said, yeah, we'll do San Diego next year. It's a quote that he said, meaning this year. So a lot of people are like, hey, we're going to get this new slate, this phase 4, at least the first couple years of it, at San Diego. We don't know for sure if they're going to go, but what they did announce, and this came out today, is that they're going to be doing D23, of course. That's the big Disney event. 23 meaning 1923 when Disney was founded. That is in, I believe, August. So they're going to do all their announcements there, or at least like the majority of them. So on the Friday, they're going to be probably get like some teaser footage for The Mandalorian, which is awesome. And then that Saturday, which is August 24th, they're going to be doing all of the slate for Marvel, new Pixar stuff, new like Disney Animation Studio stuff. And that's all going to be new Star Wars stuff. Whether it's like the movies, like we've talked about, the Benioff and Weiss stuff, the Rian Johnson trilogy, all that. We might get some of that. So that's pretty exciting. So then the Disney Plus stuff, of course, too, which is The Mandalorian on the first day. So yeah, so that's going to be D23. So we're going to get all of that there. And then Warner's like, hey, we're just not going to go. So yeah. So I don't know. But I'm excited now. I'm really excited to see this thing in August. But I still think that they're going to do something with San Diego Comic-Con. Like I know like D23 is kind of like their thing. They want that to be the headlining thing, and people want to go to that and sell tickets. They obviously don't own San Diego Comic-Con. It's hard for me to say for some reason. So it makes sense, keep it in-house. But I still think they'll do something there. I don't know. So Wellington said he got to go. Thanks for letting me have my say. Absolutely. That's what we do here. We talk back and forth. You guys are just as much a part of the show as we are. So thank you. Sure. And have a good night. Mr. Variant says, Brie doesn't want to act. She wants to promote politics. Yeah, that's kind of an issue there. It kind of gets in the way, right? And then when you see her on screen, you just have that in the back of your mind when she's doing her thing. She's kind of like a Jennifer Lawrence to me.
Yeah, I can see that.
In the way that she is a little standoffish and wooden in her performance, I guess. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of good words for it. I'm not finding like the way to articulate what I'm thinking when I'm comparing them, but those two kind of seem like on par for me. I don't know. Yeah.
Some similarities. I'm with you on that.
Yeah. And it looks like everybody wants Ahsoka, so they're kind of on board with us. Ahsoka, but not Brie. So, yeah.
That's what I think. I don't think that I think she's too old, and I don't think that she would have the right emotion to play that character. I think that she'd be just like you said, kind of wooden, and it'd just be kind of weird to see her in that role. But now there's somebody out there that'll fit the Ahsoka bill, and we'll they'll go ahead and put it together if they want to bring that character onto the Star Wars universe and everything.
Exactly. You're right. So one thing we do know for DC is what is it called? Oh my God, New Gods. New Gods, Ava DuVernay. And now we know that Tom King is actually going to be co-writing that movie with her. And there's a couple ways we can take that. Ava DuVernay, she had a big hit, and then she had a hit she had a movie that was not a hit, which was A Wrinkle in Time. And then you have Tom King, who had a couple great hits, right? He had Division, he did Mr. Miracle, which is really great. And then we got into it last week, I think it was, with Batman.
Yep.
And the reaction for that, a good like 80,000 units to retailers based on Comic-Con data, which for the longest time Batman should be at 100,000 and above, but it's been dropping ever since. So they did the wedding, and then after the wedding, I think was it called Nightmare, the story? It was like all these like dream sequences and stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of people like dropped off there, and like that's where this big like 20,000 issue drop is. So DC is like, you know what, let's I know you wanted to do 105 issues for this story, but we're gonna kind of cut you short here. So you could look at it as like this awesome guy and this award-winning director Ava are pairing up for New Gods, or you could look at it as she had a failure in A Wrinkle in Time. He got kicked off of Batman. Now they're going to put them on this thing together and be like, well, here you go. Sorry. So I don't know where you guys fall on that. But I will say for Tom King, he does have the Batman Catwoman miniseries, I think it is. So he's still going to like that. I think that's where he's going to kind of wrap up his Batman saga, let's call it, because it's a long story. Let's face it. It's many years long that he's doing this. So
it's many years long, especially. But you think about it, it's condensed because the book comes out twice a month.
Yeah.
So we've gotten this story twice as fast as we would have in the past when Batman was just a monthly title.
Mm-hmm.
So for him to push that far is pretty crazy. Especially if you go back and read his tweet about it, he kind of outlines what he was, hoping to change the character a bit forever, this whole bunch of stuff. So it's pretty nuts.
Yeah. Brings up the question too, who's going to replace him? Because obviously they're not going to not have a Batman title book. You know what I mean?
No. Well, that's the big speculation, and what he's only got like 10 more issues before he's done.
Yeah, and they haven't announced, anybody. Yeah.
Maybe that'll be something we get to hear at San Diego. Maybe that'll actually be an announcement they give us at San Diego.
There you go. That would be a perfect time for that. Yeah, that's a good point. They did say for Batman, at least, I think for a few others maybe, but definitely Batman, that it's going to monthly. Starting in January, it's going to become a monthly title. So that's good. I would like to see who's to be deceased. Is that Tom Taylor?
I think so.
Is that So I wouldn't be mad if they gave Tom Taylor a crack at Batman.
Yeah, I'd be good with him, or maybe like even Robert Venditti. I don't think he's ever written Batman before.
Yeah.
He said Flash. He's doing Hawkman now. He would be a good one.
Yeah. I'm afraid Batman's a detective. He does investigations. that's kind of in Bendis's wheelhouse.
No,
But I can see where they could kind of go down that train of thought and give him it, but I don't want them to. Please don't put Bendis on.
do it. Just who's doing detective? Is it still Tynion?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Give him both books.
Yeah,
give him detective and Batman.
Just like Bendis got action and Soups, right?
Right, because detective's been pretty good. Since he kind of took over, since it was kind of reinvigorated like around the 990 something like that. It's been pretty good for the last several issues.
Yeah. What about Peter Tomasi? I really liked his when he was on Superman before Bendis took over. It was great. It was that first couple maybe dozen and a half issues that he was on. That was good.
Yeah, no, that would be good. I'm just trying to think of who else would be good.
Yeah. There's a lot of people out there. So when Hickman stuff comes out and all the X-Men titles are canceled, a lot of those guys are going to need something to do, right? I don't think everybody's got an exclusive contract. So but it goes down to just Hickman doing two things. That leaves all these other creative teams where it's
Matthew Rosenberg, he's the one who's writing Uncanny right now.
Yeah.
And I really like the story that he's been telling. So
yeah, he's great. He's one of my favorites. He We Can Never Go Home was awesome. I always go back to that one for him. Yeah. Yeah,
but so now that kind of leaves that up in the air because that's coming up really quickly.
Yeah.
Powers of X and what is it, House of X?
Yeah.
So those are going to be out soon. Uncanny's going to end. Everything, I guess, all of them are going to end. Really, they're going to end X-Force too.
Yeah, exactly. All the X books and X-23 just ended last issue. So, all right, I have two topics, one for each of you that I think you'll both like. First one, we'll do Justin's Magic the Gathering anime series. So, the Russo brothers teamed up with Hasbro. They teamed up with Netflix and obviously Wizards of the Coast to make a Magic the Gathering series. They got the writer from Star Wars Rebels. And then he's teaming up with the guy who did the Tick and Agent Carter.
Nice.
Jose Molina and Henry Gilroy, the two guys. So great, body of work between all those people. And that's going to be coming out obviously on Netflix. So that sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah.
It makes sense too, like that Chandra Planeswalker mini. And then we get another one coming out in August. Now we know why, right?
They're going to be pushing this thing. But no, I think that's great news. That's something that the Magic community, that fandom has needed a substantial film presence, whether it be animated or TV or movie, something. They needed something because there's so many great stories. There's so much great lore about all these characters on all these cards that's been going on since 93, 92, 93. This game's been going on. So,
but if you're not that person who's in that aisle at Walmart or walking into a shop, to pick up those cards, you don't know that.
Right. So, now you're just going to get this really cool, awesome fantasy infused with tech kind of stuff. Awesome anime, So it's a perfect vehicle to be turned into an anime.
Yeah.
Or a perfect property, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll work out pretty cool. And then just to kind of give more, I guess, more content to the actual story that what been placed in books and stuff, because that's what I remember. The first medium that was outside of the cards, just they sometimes when you'd buy what was called the Fat Pack, they would also have a book there as well to kind of tell the story. So it'd be cool to see that actually played out, right? And then you can kind of see the overarching story of what is supposed to be happening. Meanwhile, everybody just has their cards and is trying to win the game. But it'd be kind of cool to because I remember the first time I was like, oh, there's a story to this. There's actual characters that make sense and have stuff to do. I had no idea. Okay.
It'd be cool, for this, you're talking about the playing cards. I was just thinking about it. If they did the intro is live action with people actually playing, and then whatever that game becomes the episode, and then it kind of morphs into the animated episode.
So it's like Yu-Gi-Oh.
But yeah, I guess. I guess it's already been done. Okay, never mind. All right.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
I
But
was
no, I
just
mean,
spitballing, you know.
I mean, I think it's also a great way for people to then get interested in the game. And with Magic, with Magic Gathering Arena now online, like that is the easiest way for people to get in. So I see it being a huge cash out for both.
Yeah.
You know, and it seems like it'll be successful with the people that are creating it. So, or at least it'll be worth watching.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, those nights are going to be crowded. I think gaming nights, right? So
Friday Night Magic all the time.
Yeah, maybe what you could do, since you know that, is actually like start charging for lessons, even though they have the instructions in the starter packs.
Right.
But don't tell them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you're right though. That's going to bring a lot more people into that. So yeah, and animated's perfect. Like if they try to do live action, that would be way too expensive. You know.
Yeah, you're talking like Hobbit, Lord of the Rings level budgets. You know.
Exactly right. Exactly, like $100-200 million for
Right. We've seen what low budget D&D movies look like. We don't want one of those.
Yeah. Speaking of like fantasy stuff, did you see that that car commercial? I'll share it to you guys later. Let me see if I can find it. I'm gonna actually mention this while I find it, so Chris can talk about it. But Taika Waititi's AKIRA adaptation finally has a release date, which is 2021, so a lot sooner than I would have thought. Wow. But I'll share your thoughts on that while I look up this movie. Oops.
AKIRA literally has been an AKIRA live action movie has been one of the biggest, like, longest running, like, myths and just like, you know, just misdirected. Oh, you know, it's coming out this year, it's coming out that year. They get this guy attached, Leonardo DiCaprio's attached, this is attached, that's attached. I mean, it's been going forever. So I mean, the fact that they're actually like hammering out like solid details is exciting, just because they've never really full out had that before. It's always been, all right, well, this director's attached, no, he's stopped, and then this guy's gonna write the screenplay, no, he's gone, and they want to have this actor involved, but no, they're not gonna do that. So it's just been crazy, and it's just, you know, it's kind of like just that one anime story that they just can't seem to nail down, and everybody's just kind of like, you know, gave up. I had given up on it years ago, but yeah, they're never gonna do that, and now it's coming out, so that's really, really cool. You know, the anime is, I mean, considered by many to be the best of all time. Like, even at the time that it came out, it just was so far ahead of everything, and it looks so good. You know, for the 80s, I want to say it was what, 88, I think was when it came out.
That sounds right.
You know, just one of those things where, you know, people couldn't believe that, like, this is what animation was actually capable of. You know, so I mean, for it to finally be getting, you know, the more direct, but then an actual date to come out, that's huge. I mean, and the fact that it's like 2 years away, it's really, really cool. You know, I can only imagine what the story is going to be full out, just because if they stick with the manga has a lot. The movie kind of, or the anime that they made, condenses a lot of things, and you know, there's a lot of characters that kind of don't have the development that needed for you to be like, okay, that makes sense.
There's
but
so much more in the manga.
Yeah.
Like 34 books, right?
Like the counting is significant, and it's like, all right, now you understand why there's this big beef and what's going on and all this type of stuff, and then it's just like, you know, or like those religious fanatics, like, I mean, like those guys, you just see them in Neo Tokyo, kind of just like freaking out with their science and stuff, but it's like you have no idea, like the guy with the big like bun for a head and the wood slippers and stuff like that. It's like you don't know what he's really all about, and it's just like, you know, it's going to be cool though to see it come out, and I'm excited for it. I've been excited and waiting for that, you know, pretty much since like high school, when they were just kind of giving all these, like, you know, just really false like rumors of, oh, this is what's coming out and that's going to happen and this and that. So you know, it's just, like I said, it's been one of those just kind of like, you know, just folklore tales where it's like, yeah, no, AKIRA's coming out. Yeah, I'm sure it is. Kind of like similar to like how people are like, oh yeah, they're gonna make a Legend of Zelda movie. It's like, yeah, absolutely, they're gonna make one. I'll see it tomorrow. But like, you know, they just they could never seem to get it going. So And I will say this much: if this now has a date and it's been traction's been made and it's good stuff going on, then that is hope for Gambit. At some point, it will come out. Maybe not for another 30, 40 years, but it'll be out there at some point.
What movie are you talking about?
The Gambit movie.
No, that's never happening.
That's never happening. I found it. Okay, so I'm gonna go back and just cut you off for a second because you guys got to see this. Renault, it's a French car company.
Yeah.
They made a car commercial very recently. You can see it like on YouTube and stuff. And it's live action based on the 80s Dungeons and Dragons cartoon. Yes, it is so cool. Yeah, that's like probably all we'll ever get from that type of thing. But it's awesome. You got to check it out. Renault, it's Renault. Just do Renault Dungeons and Dragons commercial and you'll find it. It's
very
cool.
Good. Very good. Yeah. Shout out to the 143 for stopping in.
Oh, what's up? Mahalos.
27. That's in the Gambit.
Two of them. Yeah, Gambit versus AKIRA. Yeah, right. That would be funny.
Whatever. I'm excited for AKIRA. I'm more excited to see Kaneda's bike.
Oh yeah, of course. The motorcycle.
Cool.
That
you better have the pill jacket.
Honda made one. Like not exactly, but it's close.
There have been several people that have made one.
Yeah.
But no one's ever driven one down the street in a video, and it looked as cool as the anime version.
Oh
yeah,
no.
With the power slide and like the streaks from the taillights and stuff. Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, and that music.
First 10 minutes of that movie are insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean that would be insane to see someone actually have a actual cool looking bike like Kaneda had, and then also like Tetsuo starts to loses control and starts using his power before he turns into that big like blob. But when he starts using his powers and actually like going nuts, like that's pretty cool. So
yeah,
I mean
when he Darth Vader's that hallway.
Yep.
Yeah, or like when he like his arm like reformed,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many good moments from that movie. It's just like, and honestly, like as far as even watching the anime, it's just like it's one of those ones that's just like every couple of years you give it a watch and just be like, wow, this. I mean, and even every format I've ever owned it on. So I've only owned it on DVD and VHS. I mean, it still holds up. It still looks really good. So it's just fun to watch.
Just the way it is. But I mean, regardless, I hope it's great. I hope it makes a lot of money, and I hope it opens up the doorway for other anime to be made into like feature films over here.
I'll tell you, after seeing Alita, like this genre, the live action anime has been it's been tough for them. Death Note, Ghost in the Shell had its issues, but then we got actually Bleach wasn't bad. The American Bleach when it was on, you can see it on Netflix. But I loved Alita. I thought that was fantastic. And that gave me hope for this genre. So when I hear that they're doing this, I'm like, okay, well, if that's kind of like they're learning their lessons, this has potential to be good. The only thing that kind of worries me is for a while, and I haven't kind of looked up for an update, but Taika wanted to actually have it set in Manhattan versus Neo Tokyo.
Yeah.
Which to me, you can't. It's got to be. It's got to be Tokyo. It's got to be Japan.
Yeah.
You got to have that, atomic, Rim of Fire sort of allegory with it, and that all gets lost if you have it in Manhattan.
Yeah. No, it doesn't work in Manhattan. I mean, I know that like Neo Tokyo is supposed to kind of be New York type vibe to it a little bit.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's a mega city.
It's not, and you can't do it that way.
Yeah, exactly.
My selfish hope out of this, other than seeing it on screen and everything, is that if they do it and it does well, and then they have finally learned their lesson on how to do things and make it right, then they have to make another movie from the 80s. That actually, I would say 2 movies from the 80s they should make into live action. But they have to do them right and faithfully. It would be Vampire Hunter D. And the North Star. I need a proper Fist of the North Star. I don't know how they do that because that's. I mean, if you've ever watched the show, it's just. I mean, gory to the max.
That would have to be NC-17.
Both
those movies would have to be NC-17.
No, well, Vampire Hunter D wasn't full out as gory as Vista the North Star is ridiculous. You got exploding heads and all types of stuff happen. People's stomachs exploding and everything going everywhere. So that would be a tough. That would be a really tough call. And then even in the movie when you don't
have you seen the live action Fist of the North Star?
I saw about 15 minutes and I was like, this is garbage. I turned it off. I saw it a long time ago. This is horrible.
Pretty rough.
But that's like if you ever saw the original live action Dragon Ball movie, not the one that came out, not Evolution, but the original.
Evolution. Oh God.
Oh yeah. That first one was really bad.
The very first one from like way back whenever it was. I mean, it was in like I think it was like 1992 or whatever. But it was rough. It was pretty bad. But yeah, I mean, I would say this much. With those kind of movies, with anime in general, I think that a lot of the time it's just been one of those things where studios have kind of been able to take so many liberties and not really care about making something that's good just because they're just ignorant of the product. Like, well, who's gonna scream at us? A bunch of nerds that don't have anything to say and this and that. So and now that the pop culture has gone so much towards like comics and things of that nature. It's just like you got to step your game up. You can't just sit back and make whatever you similar with video game movies. Like you cannot objectively and honestly say we're putting our best foot forward with making a movie like Mario Brothers. Like you can't do nowadays. You can't do that. Back in the day, you could have been like, yeah, well, my first time taking on this type of project, I didn't really know what I was getting into. Like now, you have to know what you're getting into, or else it's going to cost the studios, millions of dollars. So, I mean, at this point, I think that's definitely something that I think it's something that can be done well and that can really just kind of branch out and give some stuff. Give people some other possibilities for some other newer type of movies. So that would be kind of cool, especially when we're waiting for the new Marvel stuff to kind of get going and just to kind of have a break in between and then hopefully just branch out and just have some more fun movies to go out and see that aren't just all superhero movies.
Yeah, there's so much you can do with the genre, like different areas,
Yeah, exactly.
Even within just anime itself, it literally covers everything,
Yeah, it really does.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because it goes from everything from stuff for kids all the way up till adult stuff. So it's just like like if they do it right and they want to do live action, they have so much to go with, and it's just like it's just a situation where are they going to be is the effort there to warrant what they want to do? So we'll see.
Exactly. And when we know, we'll bring that to you guys as we learn it. Just like with all this, once we learn more about the movies, once we learn more about what the heck Tom King's plans are, anything, we'll be happy to share that with you guys as well. So I want to go to you guys teases what's coming up on your channels, because we're getting towards the end of the show here. So I want to find out if there's a Sunday morning comics, if Chris has gone to any more like flea markets or yard sales. So let me know what's coming up on your channels and what we can expect.
All right. Well, for me, just my haul video. I have just books I picked up, and no more yard sales, nothing like that coming up right now.
Okay.
I've been looking, just can't find anything nearby. So I think just for the moment, I think we'll just kind of not doing a lot of moving around just yet. I think probably towards the end of the summer will be more of that, like around like August, September. So hopefully we'll see some more. But for now, just haul videos and just kind of just showing what I've been picking up at the shop. So
cool.
That's what I have coming up.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about you the other day. I went down to Aventura. I was near Gulfstream. I remember you were down here like a few years back, and you went to a shop over there. So I was like, "Hey,
yeah."
Chris said that from a long time ago.
I don't even remember. They I think called it like an art store or something like that, and basically that's what it was. It was like a lot of paintings and just framed like celebrity stuff, and then like over in the corner just a bunch of books. And I was like, "Oh, cool." He's like, "Since you're getting married, I'll give you a deal." I'm like, "All right,
sure."
I was gonna buy comics no matter what, but now they give me a deal, I'm gonna buy more. So
yeah. So all right, cool.
This week there definitely should be a Sunday morning comics. Got a lot to talk about. And then next weekend is the big con in Charlotte, Heroes Con.
Yeah.
So I'll be there with Comically Flawed. So definitely, if you're in the area or you're thinking about going to that con, let us know and we'll hang out. And a shout out to those people also for getting me my press pass. Just remember, be persistent. If you haven't heard back from someone, keep asking.
That's right.
It pays off. It pays off. So, yeah, definitely look for coverage that weekend from there. Maybe a Sunday morning comics from the convention. We'll see if that can happen. But some definite stuff coming up from that. Good stuff.
Sweet.
Good stuff.
Yeah. And in the meantime, obviously check out the rest of his video catalog, but also check out comicbooked.com, because Justin here, managing editor of the website, puts up a list of every book that comes out for that week on Monday. So you can take that to your shop and, you'll have all the books, all your lists, and you won't miss anything, right?
I also made a big change this week. I feel like it was one of those like massive life changes, right?
Yeah.
I went to a new shop and I actually have a pull list now.
Oh wow! Okay.
It was the discount plus they come bagged and boarded. Couldn't pass it off.
Okay. Yeah.
Pass it up.
It's good incentive.
Yeah. So, but yeah, you do have like this weird feeling though after like leaving one shop and going to another.
It's like you're cheating on someone, right?
It really is.
That's what it
messed
feels
up.
like.
Really messed up.
So. All right, cool. Well, I got more, videos coming, trying to do everything like at least one every other day or something, So I've been really trying to ramp up my output as much as I can, that's feasible with my schedule. So more stuff on the way, more history stuff, more movie stuff. Definitely got to do a couple haul things that things are piling up. And, you guys know the more books in the stack, the more it's like, that video is going to be a chore, man. So, yeah.
Yep.
So,
one other thing that I was gonna say, I'm gonna try to be on like a couple auctions or an auction this weekend. So look out for that, and I'll try to post it up and let everybody know when I figure out where I land.
Nice.
Me and Legends, me and Edwin were both on Legends Live auction this week, which is pretty cool. His final auction on his channel, so definitely a fun experience. But yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly with trying to get on some of those. Just because going to a con, it's good to have extra money, So I 100% agree and hope that you get to get to some stuff and sell some stuff off so that we get to see some amazing stuff coming back after you get out of the hall. I have to say, after the con, I am jealous that you're going, because after seeing the guests, wow, if I could have made it, I would have done so, but I just.
There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people going to be at this point.
Yeah.
It's going to be
like everyone.
Yeah. Big shout out to Adam, Mr. Comically Flawed himself, for making me go. So,
yeah.
Thanks.
Exactly. Yeah. Actually, we're shouting out Adam. Let's shout out everybody else in the chat. Thanks for being here with us, being part of this conversation, asking all the questions you did. Thanks to Lords of the Long Box for the exclusive through him that we were able to share, and everybody else kind of participating. Because like we said, you guys are as much a part of this show as we are. We couldn't do it without you guys and your questions and your comedic comments and your fact checking. Appreciate all of that. So thank you. If you are watching later, drop a comment, let us know. And if you're streaming, go ahead and leave us a comment there. Thanks for listening to us on your favorite streaming service. We do appreciate it. This is available. Exactly right. Well, I guess not a comment, but go ahead and leave like a review if you get a chance. We would appreciate that. We are on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play, all of that. So anywhere you stream, you can find us. Just search JLS Comics, and you'll find it. But that's it. This has been another episode of Comic Conversation on Throwback Thursday. We'll see you next week, everybody. Have a good one.
Thanks, everybody.
Yep.